The city should be organizing teach-ins and conversations between various aspects of the anti-fascist movement. The city should not be focusing on Antifa, but on the dangers of Nazis. Nazis kill people.
Hello, my name's Karen Ashley, and I work with Showing Up for Racial Justice. We're the group who initially called for this demonstration last month. I would like to say that the portrayal of the demonstration is unbelievably false, and there's no talk of the white supremacists. This city would not need pepper spray if there were no white supremacists allowed.
Next speaker, please.
It's my second time in Berkeley, and I don't mean to bring a negative vibe in here. Back in August 27th, I walked into that park with my hands up and peace symbols, and I was brutally attacked by people wearing a mask. I was called a Nazi. I'm a third-generation Italian. I was called a Nazi, a white supremacist, and I had to beg the police officers to help me. If it wasn't for one rogue police officer standing right down there in that line, I would have been beaten. I was unconscious. I have a concussion. I still have a bump on my head. And I've been thinking about this ever since that day. And what I want to ask you, Mayor Jesse, is the next day you came out and you said that Antifa should be classified as a gang. You know the key players. You were on their Facebook groups. You were in BAM's Facebook groups. You know their violent tendencies. Why were the police officers told to stand down that day? Why was there a flatbed truck that pulled up and passed out weapons that were used against me? Signs that said no hate that I was attacked with when I was unconscious on the ground. And if it wasn't for my friend that pulled me up off the ground, I would have been torn apart by those people out there. So why was that truck allowed to pass out weapons on that street when flagpoles were banned, masks were banned, shields were banned, and Yvette Falarka was on a bullhorn inciting a riot, passing out weapons that were ultimately used against me? So why was that allowed on your watch and in your city? Mayor Jesse.
So we don't engage in a back and forth conversation with speakers at public comment, but thank you for coming and for making your comments this evening.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And again, you condone political violence. You were a member of those groups. If you want them to be classified as a gang, you know the key players.
Thank you very much.
Turn them into the police and do the right thing.
Thank you for your comments.
Just a couple weeks ago, hundreds of masked extremists arrived on the scene of an otherwise peaceful event, which had many more peaceful demonstrators. This event was across from Civic Center Park. These extremists were accompanied by a flatbed truck loaded with weapons and shields.
Please.
The photograph
Please have order as we proceed with the meeting. Public comment will be after the presentation. Please.
This photograph taken that day shows shields loaded on the truck, which were subsequently offloaded to masked extremists. They deploy them out in the line. Here's one of dozens of those shields, and there's one right in front of you here on the floor. The shield right here is the exact, from the batch that came off of the truck. It is a sign on the front, but it is made of plywood, and on the back has rope handles, foam padding added to it, so it functions as a shield. From that truck, the speaker prepared the crowd for violent confrontation, warning that anyone who is concerned about violence should move away.
Those people who are willing to put their bodies on the line, they made me feel safe. They made me feel like I could come. And to sit there and lie and say that they are the extremists when the Nazis are here in our community,
Next speaker,
they
please.
are the extremists.
I'm silent, and the people bowing.
My name is Andrea Pritchett. I'm with Berkeley Cop Watch, and I also serve on the Police Review Commission, although I am not representing them today. And, sadly, for all the concerns that are expressed about Antifa, let me tell you, Antifa is trying to fill in the need for public safety that they feel there is a void of. That's what's going on. And all this propaganda here, where are the alt-right? Where's the Bay Stickman's logo? Where are the swastikas? Where's the flags of all these other groups? It's not real. This is very staged, I have to say.
They also used sticks, bats, bike locks, and wooden shields. We recovered an improvised explosive device also in the park, an improvised smoke bomb in the park. So this is a photo showing the explosive detonation right literally on our officers. With each event, we've refined our approach to crowd control with an eye towards both overall community safety and our ability to focus our efforts on arresting specific violent actors within a crowd, people who are committing violent acts upon others.
To the neon god they made, and the sign flashed out his warning, and the words that it was forming, and the sign said the words on the...
On April 15th, dozens of masked extremists entered Civic Center Park en masse during an otherwise peaceful event and ultimately attacked others in the park, as well as police officers, using a variety of weapons, including chemical irritant sprays, explosive quarter sticks of dynamite known as M80s, and in this photograph...
My name is Russell Bates, longtime resident of Berkeley. As fascist Americans seem to be enjoying more of a resurrection in this country these days, it seems like no reason for Berkeley to go along with that. It's ironic that the sign on there, the shield is being used as an example of bad Antifa. It says, to all those who fight fascism, you are not alone. That's supposed to make Antifa look bad, huh? How about the fascists that show up with their tear gas masks, their pistols by their sides, their billy clubs, and now they want another weapon like this? I mean, you got to be kidding me. There is something wrong when the city council feels empowered to give the police even more power. It seems like power seeks more and more power and more corruption. And when is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? I ask this every single time. When is it going to stop?
Thank you.
Sarah Kirshner, resident of Berkeley. So I agree with Andrea that a police solution to a political problem is not a good one. And I feel like this policy and the other ordinances reflect a failure to make some crucial distinctions and then to equate things that are not equatable. So anti-fascists are not equatable with white supremacists and Nazis. As someone whose relatives survived the Nazi genocide and were part of armed resistance against Nazis, I do not believe that they are equatable to Nazis. The distinction that then isn't being made is the distinction between free speech that was intended to protect those who were fighting against white supremacy, sexism, and religious targeting, and what is not free speech, and not even just hate speech, but is a desire to mobilize people towards the annihilation of other people. History has repeatedly showed us that if you do not stand firm against paramilitary fascists, they increase their numbers. That was historically and consistently shown, and the history of anti-fascism has shown that when you argue over tactics, then you weaken your ability to stop fascism. So I find it confusing. I am one of the organizers. I'm with the National Lawyers Guild. We both defended, organized to provide legal support, and we're part of the coalition for August 27th. We were in communication with the interfaith groups and also with the rally. We came together with strong unity. There was 7,000 of us. It is an absolutely false description. I was with the truck the entire time. Those shields, like masks, are being used to protect people who are being terrorized by white supremacists. There are blogs offering bounties on people's heads. To say that those shields are weapons and to line up to defend the right of people who stand with, if they themselves are not self-proclaimed Nazis, is unfathomable to me. It's unfathomable anywhere, but it's very unfathomable to me from the people sitting up there. It's really disturbing.